Well, it's John and Alex here at Pegasus News, and big film event of the week, and maybe more, was Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar, which opens today as you see this. And so we thought we'd just give you a few comments about the movie, in addition to our reviews, which you can read online. We should clarify that the version we saw was the 3D version. It'll also be screening in 2D in a lot of theaters. But, wow, I can't imagine anybody wanting to see this and not go into a 3D theater.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much the whole point with the film, that James Cameron wants you to see it in 3D. I mean, he planned the whole thing around it being in 3D, and so you need to spend extra money in order to get the full enjoyment out of it, I think.
Right. I can't even imagine what it would look like in 2D. It'll probably be fun to watch also, but for heaven's sake, drive a few extra miles if you live in North Texas and go to a theater that has it in 3D.
Which is going to be strange, though, when it comes out on DVD, because they haven't really developed the 3D technology for TVs yet. I think there's some out there, but for the mass public, it's not going to be available for a long time, and so it's going to be interesting to watch it on DVD whenever it comes out eventually. So.
Yeah, maybe they'll include some kind of little glasses with it or something. Which reminds me, we've gotten word that there's some special limited edition polarizing glasses being made by the Coke One people from recycled Coke bottles, and we'll have some of those to give away at some point, I think. They have a little Avatar logo on them.
Fancy.
So, one of the big buzz things about Avatar is how much doggone money it costs to make. Mm-hmm. And there's no hard and fast figures available. They range anywhere from $250 million to like $500 million.
Yeah.
So should we be worried about that?
I mean, they said the same thing about everybody was on Titanic, James Cameron's previous film, Titanic, about how much it cost. It cost like $200 million, and that was the most at that time. Mm-hmm. And this is the only time that I've ever really heard it in recent years, people bringing up the budget, because I mean, I'm sure, the Spider-Mans and the other blockbuster movies of the world are cost $200 million or upwards to make, but you don't ever hear about it because Titanic got there first, and now, so no, it doesn't matter. It's up there on the screen. I think every penny that he spent is up there on the screen. So whatever it cost to make, it was worth it in my mind.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, he could have bailed out a small country or made a movie like this, and that's his job. He makes movies and bail out small countries. All right, so a bit about the tech stuff, which is where a lot of this $300 million plus money went. When you read about it in the press notes, it's mind-boggling because of all the new stuff that he did. He put these sensor helmets on the actors for part of their performance to do what he called performance capture. And that was a whole preliminary filming stage where Sigourney Weaver and Sam Worthington went around with their helmet cams on, and sensors would watch their eye movements. That's how drilled down it went. And then he sent that stuff off to the computer graphics house, and incorporated that with the live action stuff. And it's an amazing process, and you read about it and you go, wow, this is really complicated, but then you see it on the screen and it really works. I can't get over how well it works.
Yeah, I watched an interview with Sigourney Weaver, and she was talking about how they were able to actually see themselves in real time in kind of rough avatar form, and it was just amazing that he could come up with this kind of technology. And I'm sure other people have done similar stuff, but he's kind of refined all the techniques that have been put forth by like Peter Jackson and George Lucas and Robert Zemeckis for the performance capture, and kind of refined them all into this one thing. And I think he's pretty much outdone all of them in making something believable and something kind of just visually mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It looks great on screen. And, there was really not much doubt that it was going to look spectacular on screen. What surprised me most after going in and watching it was how well it worked on an emotional level. And you can't say human level because there's not a lot of humans.
Humanoid level.
Yeah, on a humanoid level. So, it connected with me on that level, and I got involved in the characters, and I started caring about what was happening to them, which doesn't necessarily follow from a bunch of technology.
And that's a James Cameron trademark. I mean, throughout all of his films, he's able to make you connect to all the people on a basic level. I mean, from Aliens to Terminator to True Lies to all of his films. No matter what he's doing, no matter all the different sci-fi stuff going on, it's always about the emotion and the basic human instincts, and I think that comes through loud and clear.
Yeah. Now, as far as the storyline and the plot goes, of course, it's on another planet, and we've got aliens and stuff. But is there anything else new about it? I mean, it's an eco-friendly, evil empire exploiting the natives type storyline.
Yeah, I mean, it's you have the pro-environment side and the scientists. You have the people trying to exploit the environment to get at the natural resource that's abundant on this planet. It's pretty much a storyline you've seen many times before, but just because you've seen that story many times before doesn't mean you've seen it done well many times before. And to be able to combine all these disparate elements and put it all together and make you still want to know the end of the story, even though you kind of pretty much know the end of the story already, it's a great job by Cameron, I thought.
I agree. I wish we could, have some knockdown, drag-out fisticuffs about this, but I was blown away. And the surprising thing is, when you look back on it, you realize how trite this whole plot is. But as you're immersed in it and following the characters, you just get carried away, and you go with the flow of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the visuals again. I mean, because you have such mind-blowing visuals all around you, and with the 3D, you're kind of immersed in it. That even though you've seen the story before, and like I said, it's kind of trite, but it doesn't really matter. James Cameron just puts it all together so well that you can overlook any of the flaws like that.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you've got this added complexity of this interface, this avatar interface, where the human characters are actually projecting themselves into these bodies of the Na'vi, which adds another dimension to the story. It doesn't make it a new story, but it makes it a more complex story, and Cameron pretty much succeeds in getting in and out of the difficulties involved with that scenario before the movie is over.
Yeah, there were a couple of times where I was going, does that really work? I mean, what would be happening to the bodies when they're not asleep? But they kind of address it at different points, and so I was ultimately satisfied with the way they handled that part of it.
Okay. Do you buy into the characters and the relationships, particularly the Sully and Neytiri characters, the two leads?
I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, I think that he made the Na'vi look human enough. I mean, they're aliens, but they're human enough, and of course they are able to speak. We're able to understand them, so it's not like they're speaking this alien language throughout the entire movie. So there's enough familiar touchstones that you can't help but get caught up in the whole grand scope of things.
Does the romance part work for you?
Yeah, I mean, he knows how to put on a romance. I mean, I don't know. Some people might disagree about Titanic, but that's one of the great romances of all time. And to me, this is not quite Titanic level, but he provides enough of those familiar things that you can get into it no problem.
Okay. All right. Well, now we're going to bottom line it here. Does this movie, does Avatar, make your top 10 list of the year?
Yeah, it definitely makes my top 10. I wouldn't say it's my top film of the year. I mean, there's enough little things, like you said, about the story that's just a little bit too familiar. But yeah, it definitely makes my top 10, if not my top 5.
Yeah, me too. And that's it from John and Alex at Pegasus News. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.